sitting over here at the Atlantic Station Supercharger, killing time, taking care of things, catching up on emails, but I got to thinking about it, and I felt like it was time to come up with a pros and cons list. I know that some of you are waiting on part 8 of the Brutally Honest series, and I gotta tell you up front, just to give you an update, I had to completely dismantle it once again and start all over. But it's coming pretty soon. I've overthought it, and I think I just gotta start all over once again, which I have done, and it'll be ready soon, so hang tight. But for now, let's go over a pros and cons list of being a Tesla owner. So when you have a Tesla, it's a very rare looking car. Of course, I mean, it's a rare car, so people, of course, they're going to react like, ooh, oh, this is a cool car. Where'd you get it? How much money do you make? What did it cost? All that. And on the con side of it, there is a dark side to it. First of all, just for the record, I didn't get this vehicle for any other reason, just other than using it for my business. I got it for my business, and that's it. I see a car as being a tool. For me, a car is about getting to where you need to go or making money with it. It needs to be an asset rather than a liability to me. And we all know that at the end of the day, overall, a car, unless you are using it to make money, unless it is making you money actively at all times, it is a liability rather than an asset. But in my life, the car is an asset. The other cons to battle with, as far as status and looking good, it can work against you. I've actually, I had a lawn service, for example, that was charging me literally over double what my current lawn service is charging me. And I think that a lot of the reason that he did that is because he saw that I was driving a Tesla. And it's not just that. I mean, there are a lot of examples, but when people see you driving this car, they think that you've just got money to burn. And in my case, I don't have money to burn. Therefore, looking cool, which is a pro of driving a Tesla in general, has its negative impact on you. It has a negative side, and it's kind of a hassle. I mean, I literally have to hide my vehicle from people, and because I don't want them to think, get the wrong idea. So that's number 10. Okay, this is a long drawn out one. Number 9 would be the fuel savings. Now, this is going to come up again. This list is going to be a little bit redundant, but I'm going to just try to isolate this. So the pro is that you save a lot of money that you would be spending on fuel. I don't know. Sometimes you have to weigh it. Is your time worth more than money? Because time is money. So is your time more valuable to you than the savings? You got to ask yourself that. This leads to number 8. So you've got your fuel savings, right? But with number 8, it's a maintenance cost. So we all know that there are a lot of components in a Tesla, a lot of components in an ICE vehicle that are not in a Tesla. So there are a lot of things that you don't have to deal with. And this is supposed to save you money in the long run. However, when you do have maintenance issues with a Tesla, they are very expensive for those minor things that may go or whatever. It's not cheap. Number 7 is going to be things are supposed to be better in an EV all around rather than being in a gasoline car. That remains to be seen. So to go a little bit deeper into that, so the pro is everything is new. There's all these new cool things that we've never seen before, for the most part. However, the con is those things have yet to stand the real test of time that internal combustion engines have. So that is number 7. And I'm going to move on because number 7 should not have been created, but it's too late now. Let's move on to number 6. Refueling at home. That is the pro. It is so nice to be able to just park your car in your garage and for lack of a better description, have the gas station in your garage. Like, having your fuel station in your garage is a wonderful thing, because you don't need to ever worry about going to a gas station and dealing with all the headaches and drama that come with it at times. It doesn't always have to be drama, but just going to the gas station isn't always a smooth transaction, if you know what I mean. The con. Sometimes things don't go right at home. I've had my power go out. It was not good. Had my power go out and had to be somewhere the next morning, and it put a ton of stress on me. The gas station's always there, and it's just a 5-minute fill up and you're gone. You don't have to deal with it anymore. But yes, you pay the price. You're paying for convenience in a way. So I will repeat it one more time. Number 6, the pro is you can recharge your vehicle at home. You basically have a fuel station in your garage, which is a great thing. You don't have to deal with the gas station. However, the con is if you have any issues at home, or you have issues with any other EV charging stations, then getting your car recharged is going to be a pain. Therefore, gasoline still wins, because there's gasoline stations on every corner, which I've covered in many of my other videos. Number 5 is the large 17-inch display, better known as the MCU, the heart of the car. And it's very pleasing to the eye. Most people see it and their eyeballs roll out of their heads. They're just like, oh my God, that is just insane. They love it. The con, all you have is this screen. So for some people, the screen is great. It's considered to be a pro. Just the con side of it is anything goes on with that screen, you lose a lot of functionality. Let's just put it that way. You lose a lot of functionality. However, you can still operate the car. You can still put it in drive, or reverse, neutral, park, all that. So all that stuff still works, thankfully, and it will not stop the car from running. So the pro is everything is on this big, beautiful display. The con is sometimes you want to get to those functions just by pressing a button, and that's not always going to happen with a Tesla, if you know what I mean. Moving on to number 4, and this is something I've talked about before. This is the only one on the list that is Model X specific. The Falcon wing doors versus the regular doors. Pro. Falcon wing doors look cool. They look really cool to people. But as I've mentioned before, if I would have had a choice, I would have gone with just regular doors. I do not care about the Falcon wing doors. This goes back to the first one on the list, which was number 10, is about looking cool and flash and all that. I'm going to tell you right now, even my kids, you know, an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old, they don't want to be seen getting out of this car. They don't want to answer a bunch of questions. So they'll actually say, can I crawl up to the front seat and get out of the front seat, or crawl out of the trunk so that people won't see the doors? I'm not kidding you. This is they've asked me this. Now, you know, some of my nieces and nephews, they think it's great, and they love the flash, and they think it's cool. They're a little bit older, but you kind of have to appreciate the simplicity of younger kids, and kids who aren't very superficial. They don't really want to show off to people with the Falcon wing doors. Now, the con side of the Falcon wing doors, that's the pro. You like the doors, they look cool, but there's a lot that comes with those doors. It took me several visits to get these doors right, to get them to where they weren't such a headache anymore. So the con is the doors are high maintenance. They're not worth it. I would much rather have regular doors or sliding doors even. I don't care if it makes it look like a minivan. I would rather have that. So, moving on. Hey, we're finally down to the top 3 in this list. So number 3, Pro, acceleration. And one last jump in the ludicrous speed. Here we go. Woo! God! Oh man, that sick. The acceleration of any Tesla is just breathtaking. It is hands down my favorite thing about driving a Tesla. I was going to make this number one, but I switched it for the other thing, which you will find out in just a moment. Driving this car, part of the experience, what makes it so great is not so much the handling as it is the acceleration. It is just, you're like, what? When, you just have to, if you haven't driven a Tesla, and you have a friend who has one, or you feel like going into a gallery or a service center and checking one out. I don't think you can go to service center, but gallery, whatever. I highly recommend it. It's quite an experience. Just the acceleration alone will put its hooks in you. Con is this acceleration is very, very, very dangerous. This acceleration can get you into trouble. People love to bait me because I drive a Tesla, especially Dodge Charger or Challenger drivers and Mustang drivers. I don't know what it is about those guys. They're always wanting to challenge me. I've had a few challenges from Mercedes and BMW, and I can just tell you right now, I used to entertain them, and I used to race with them, and fortunately I found out that I was taking a huge risk, and I stopped before things got out of hand and before I got hurt or hurt someone else. So that's the con. The acceleration, I mean, it's as deadly. It can be your worst enemy as well as your best friend. Just to touch on a few more things about the acceleration, it is so great overtaking lollygaggers and stuff. Like, people are just slowing around. It is so great to have this acceleration because you can just weave through traffic like a hot knife through warm butter. I don't care if that description is cliche or if it's been worn out. It's just that easy. I mean, you can just cut through things like nothing. I mean, getting through traffic is a breeze. As long as everything's moving, you can just weave through it like with the greatest of ease with this acceleration. It is phenomenal. It is a pro that I just can't give up. Number 2 is the technology in general. Now, this may be redundant because it might go back to the screen, but the technology behind this vehicle, and what I mean by that, the pro is there are a lot of things that can be sorted out via a software update over the air. As many of you know, this is like one of the first things that anyone at Tesla will tell you if you go and look at a car. So that technology is certainly a pro that you can have a lot of things straightened out over the air. The con to that is that you're waiting on Tesla to sort these things out over the air, or taking it to their service center, rather than being able to get in there and sort it out yourself. So that is the con to it. And here we go. Number one is the cost. So, of course, this can't be a pro, right? But in a way it can be, because they say that having an EV over time, the upfront cost is huge, but over time you make it back with all of the savings from not doing the routine maintenance and gasoline fill-ups and all that. You're supposed to not only break even but come out ahead after about a 4 or 5 year period, at least in my case. I'm gonna say that the con for that is not quite, because time is money. Therefore, it takes a lot more time to recharge these vehicles than it does just to fill them up with gasoline, which makes you sometimes question whether or not it's worth it to have an electric vehicle, because your time is more important to you than the money that you're saving by not having to put gasoline in the car. If I didn't mention it off the top there when I was talking about it, I don't care about, I only care about the environment to a certain degree. I care enough about the environment to not litter on the streets, but other than that, I just don't care. I didn't buy this car to save the environment. I've said this in other videos. I've done plenty of videos about it. I didn't get this thing to hug a tree or anything like that. I just didn't do that. Okay, I'm sorry, but I got this vehicle because I felt like down the road, I knew the upfront cost would be steep, but down the road it would end up, paying me back. At the end of the day, the cost is a con. So pro is going with a used Tesla and saving yourself a substantial amount of money if you really want one. And all the kinks have been worked out, like if I were to sell this vehicle today with it having 72,000 miles on it, I can tell you right now that I could sell it with a clear conscience, because I know for a fact that this vehicle is a lot better right now at 72,000 miles, knock on wood, than it was at 7,200 miles. So that's it for this list. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I feel so weird saying that, but all the rest of the things and all those details will be at the end of the video. I really appreciate your time. I hope all of you are having a great day.